You are standing at the checkout counter. It's not a big purchase. Maybe a pair of jeans. Maybe a dinner that costs more than $20. You have the money. You checked your bank app in the car 3 minutes ago. You know the number is there. But as you reach into your wallet, your heart rate spikes. Your breath catches in the shallow part of your chest. You hand over the card, and for that split second while the machine processes, you are gripped by a distinct, cold, irrational terror. Please don't decline. Please don't decline. The machine beeps. Approved. You smile at the cashier. You take the bag, you walk away. But you don't feel relief. You feel guilty. You feel a heavy, sinking stone in your gut that says you just did something wrong, that you just endangered your survival, that you are reckless. Stop. Freeze that frame. Why does buying a sandwich feel like a moral failure? Why does spending money you actually earned trigger a fight-or-flight response in your nervous system? You tell yourself it's because you're prudent. You tell yourself you're sensible. You tell your friends, I'm just not really into material things. Wrong. You aren't sensible. You are infected. You are carrying a pathogen that has been rewriting your neural pathways since before you could speak. We need to give this thing a name right now. It is the poverty virus, and you didn't catch it from a bad investment. You didn't catch it from the economy. You inherited it. It was passed down to you genetically and behaviorally from the people who raised you. Think back not to last week, to the kitchen table. You are 7 years old. The house is quiet, too quiet. You're in the hallway, sitting on the floor, hugging your knees. You shouldn't be awake, but the tone of their voices woke you up. You can't hear every word, but you know the frequency. It's the specific, sharp, panicked frequency of your parents discussing bills. You hear the tear of an envelope. You hear the heavy sigh that sounds like a balloon deflating. You hear the sentence that will become the soundtrack of your entire adult life. We can't afford it. Or maybe it was worse. Maybe it wasn't quiet. Maybe it was loud, screaming, doors slamming, one parent blaming the other. Where did it go? What did you spend it on? The sound of money in your house wasn't the sound of opportunity. It wasn't the sound of freedom. It was the sound of war. It was the sound of safety evaporating. And in that hallway, your 7-year-old brain made a calculation that stuck harder than any math lesson you ever learned in school. Your brain wired two concepts together. Money equals danger. Money causes pain. Money makes the people you love scream at each other. Money is the monster in the closet that makes your father angry and your mother cry. Fast forward 20 years. You're an adult. You have a job. You aren't living in that house anymore. But the poverty virus is dormant in your operating system, running in the background, consuming your processing power. Look at how you order food. You open the menu. Do you look at the pictures? Do you look at what you're hungry for? No. Your eyes dart immediately to the right side of the page. You scan the numbers first. You find the cheapest items, and then you try to convince yourself that's what you want. You negotiate with your own hunger. I don't really want the steak. The chicken is fine. Actually, a salad is better. You are gaslighting yourself over $12. Why? Because the poverty virus tells you that resources are scarce. It tells you that if you consume today, you will starve tomorrow. It doesn't matter that you have $5,000 or $50,000 in the bank. The virus doesn't know math. The virus only knows survival. And to the virus, spending is bleeding. This is why you can't enjoy nice things. You buy the nice shoes, but you leave them in the box for 3 months, saving them for a special occasion. You buy the new car, but every time you drive it, you're waiting for the scratch. You're waiting for the breakdown. You get a raise at work, and instead of celebrating, you feel a weird, creeping anxiety. You start waiting for the other shoe to drop. You start waiting for the universe to correct the mistake. I shouldn't have this. That's the voice of the virus. You think this is just how you are. You think it's a personality quirk, but it's not. It is a biological encoding of scarcity. Your parents lived in survival mode. They lived in a world where resources were finite and danger was everywhere. They survived by clutching, by hoarding, by fearing. And they taught you through every sigh, every put that back, every money doesn't grow on trees, that the world is a hostile place and you are one paycheck away from oblivion. But here is the uncomfortable truth that nobody tells you. By holding on to this fear, you think you are honoring them. You think you are being safe, but you aren't. You are recreating their struggle. You are subconsciously building a life that mirrors their limitations because their limitations feel like home to you. You are walking around with a mental map of a territory that doesn't exist anymore. You are fighting a war that ended 20 years ago, but your body doesn't know the war is over. Your body is still in the hallway, listening to the yelling, terrified that if you ask for a toy, the family will collapse. The poverty virus isn't just about being broke. You can be a millionaire and still be infected. It's the inability to exhale. It's the inability to trust that the ground will hold you up. It's the deep, toxic belief that you are only safe when you are suffering. And until we isolate this virus, until we look at it under the microscope and see exactly how it's hijacking your decisions, you will never be wealthy. You will just be a poor person with money. And there is a massive difference. You think you're being careful. No, you're being haunted. Let's look at the symptoms. Because you're thinking, I'm not like that. I have a savings account. I'm doing better than my parents. Maybe on paper, but look at your behavior. Look at the weird, illogical things you do when nobody is watching. The notification pops up on your phone. Bank of America, low balance alert, or statement available. What do you do? Do you open it immediately? Do you face the data? No, you swipe it away. You clear the notification bar like you're swatting a fly. You put the phone face down. You engage in the ostrich maneuver. You tell yourself, I'll check it later when I'm home. I'll check it after the weekend. You are terrified of the number. You operate your entire life in a fog of estimated math. You navigate by feeling, not by facts. You pray the card works. You pray the check clears. Because looking at the actual number feels like looking directly into the sun. It burns. It reminds you of your lack. So you choose blindness. You choose the anxiety of the unknown over the pain of the known. That is the virus protecting itself. It thrives in the dark. Now walk into your house. Go to that one drawer in the kitchen or the box in the garage. You know the one. It's filled with cables for phones you haven't owned in 6 years. It has a remote control for a TV that broke in 2018. It has a tangled mess of chargers, adapters, and half-broken headphones. Why do you keep them? Just in case. That's the mantra of the poverty mindset. I might need this specific 2009 mini USB cable someday. No, you won't. But your brain screams that if you throw it away, you will be punished. The virus whispers, resources are finite. If you let this go, you will never get it back. You can't afford to replace it. So you become a curator of trash. You turn your home into a storage unit for a life you don't live anymore, paralyzed by the fear that you might need a safety net of garbage. You are literally hoarding obsolescence because you don't trust your future self to be able to buy a $5 cable. Let's go deeper. Let's look at how you buy things that actually matter. You need a pair of work boots, or a winter coat, or a laptop. There's the high-quality option for $200. It will last 5 years. There's the cheap option for $60. It feels flimsy. You know it's going to fall apart in 6 months. Which one do you buy? You buy the $61. You feel a rush of victory. I saved $140. Wrong. 6 months later, the cheap one breaks. You buy another $61. $6 months later, repeat. Over 5 years, you spend $600 on cheap garbage instead of $200 on one quality item. This is the poor man's tax. But it's not just economics, it's psychology. You don't buy the cheap one because you're frugal. You buy the cheap one because you don't believe you deserve the quality one. The virus tells you, who do you think you are wearing $200 boots? That's for rich people. That's for other people. You stay in your lane. So you punish yourself with mediocrity. You surround yourself with things that break, things that don't work, things that frustrate you, because a smooth, functioning life feels arrogant to your infected subconscious. And the most twisted symptom of all, the panic spend. This happens when you actually get money, a tax refund, a bonus, a gift. Suddenly, there is $2,000 in your account that isn't allocated for bills. Do you invest it? Do you let it sit there and grow? No. It burns a hole in your pocket. You start feeling restless. You start looking for problems. Oh, the car needs tires. Oh, we should really go out to that expensive dinner. I need a new phone. You subconsciously find a way to get rid of it. Why? Because the poverty virus has a set point. It has a comfort zone of struggle. When you have extra money, you are out of alignment with your identity. You are too high. Your nervous system doesn't know how to be calm with a surplus. It only knows how to function in a deficit. So you self-sabotage. You blow the money to get back to zero. And when you're back to zero, you finally exhale. Ah, back to normal, back to the struggle. Now I know who I am. You aren't reckless. You aren't stupid. You are strictly obedient to a thermostat that was set by your parents before you were born. They taught you that money is something you chase, not something you keep. They taught you that having money is a temporary accident, and being broke is the permanent state of reality. And you are proving them right every single day. You are the one swiping away the notification. You are the one hoarding the broken cables. You are the one buying the cheap shoes. You are the one flushing the bonus check. You think you're fighting poverty. Look closer. You're the one keeping it on life support. Here is the moment where the floor drops out from under you. We've looked at the symptoms, the panic at the checkout, the hoarding of broken things, the self-sabotage when you get a bonus. And you've been telling yourself a story to explain it all. I'm just disorganized. I'm just unlucky. I'm just bad with numbers. No. Stop lying to yourself. You are not bad with numbers. You are not unlucky. You are loyal. This is the hardest pill you will ever have to swallow. You are struggling financially because, deep down in the terrified child part of your brain, you believe that becoming wealthy would be a betrayal of your family. Let that sink in. Betrayal, that's ridiculous. My parents want me to succeed. Do they? On the surface, sure, they say the words, "We want you to have a better life than we did." But watch their eyes when you talk about a promotion. Watch their body language when you mention a vacation they could never afford. There is a tightness, a silence, a subtle shift in the air that says, "Oh, you think you're better than us now." And you feel it. You feel it in your gut. You feel the invisible tether that connects you to their struggle. If your father worked himself to the bone for 40 years and died with nothing, and you make more in a month than he made in a year, What does that say about him? Does it mean he was stupid? Does it mean he failed? Your subconscious refuses to accept that. You love him, you honor him. So you unconsciously decide, I will struggle too. I will carry the same burden. That way I remain his son. That way I remain part of the tribe. This is why you feel that sick guilt when you buy something nice. It's not about the money. It's about leaving them behind. Success feels like abandonment. Wealth feels like walking away from the people who raised you. So you stay close. You stay in the struggle. You keep the virus alive because the virus is the only thing you all have in common. Think about the last time you visited them. You parked your car. Maybe it's a decent car. Did you feel proud? Or did you feel a flash of shame? Did you worry they would think you were showing off? You walk inside. They start complaining about the cost of groceries. They start complaining about the electric bill. What do you do? Do you say, actually, I'm doing great, my investments are up? No. You shrink, you hunch your shoulders, you say, yeah, it's crazy out there. Everything is so expensive. I'm feeling it too. You lie. You dim your light. You pretend to be struggling so you don't alienate them. You lower your frequency to match their frequency. And here is the tragedy. You do this so often, pretending to be poor to make them comfortable, that you actually become poor. You manifest the struggle you are pretending to have. You sabotage the deal. You miss the deadline. You overspend. You create a crisis. Why? Because if you succeed, you are alone. If you succeed, you are one of them. The rich, the greedy, the people your parents hated. The people your parents blamed for their misery. Remember the speeches. Rich people are crooks. Money changes people. We may be poor, but at least we're honest. If you become wealthy, do you become a crook? Do you become dishonest? Your brain screams, yes. So you protect your moral character by destroying your financial future. You aren't fighting the economy. You are fighting your own biology. Humans are tribal animals. For 1 million years, being kicked out of the tribe meant death. And in your family, the tribe is defined by struggle. The tribe is defined by, we can't afford it. The tribe is defined by, life is hard. If you stop struggling, if you start saying, I can afford this easily, if you start saying, life is abundant, you are speaking a foreign language. You are an outsider. So you have a choice, and you've been making the wrong one every single day. Option A, be rich and lonely. Option B, be poor and loved. You chose love. You chose belonging. You chose to replicate their pain, because sharing their pain feels like the highest form of intimacy. This is why you can't keep money. Because every dollar in your bank account feels like a step away from your mother. Every investment feels like an insult to your father. You are using your poverty as a loyalty pledge. Look, Mom, look, Dad, I'm suffering too. I'm just like you. Please don't stop loving me. It is a twisted, tragic, invisible contract. And until you rip it up, until you realize you can love them without imitating their suffering, you will never, ever be free. You are succeeding at the wrong goal. You are winning the game of belonging to a poor family. And the prize is that you get to stay broke forever. This isn't spiritual woo-woo. This isn't manifestation. This is hardwired neurobiology. You need to understand the machinery of the poverty virus, or you will spend the rest of your life trying to fix a software problem with a hammer. There is a concept in psychology called financial flashpoints. Dr. Brad Klontz, a financial psychologist, identified these as specific, highly emotional events from your past that lock in your beliefs about money. Think of them as emotional scars on your brain tissue. When you were young, your brain was plastic. It was recording everything to build a survival map. And in your house, money wasn't just paper. Money was adrenaline. When your parents fought about bills, your brain didn't register a counting error. Your brain registered threat. Your amygdala, the lizard brain responsible for fight or flight, lit up like a Christmas tree. It flooded your tiny body with cortisol. It told you, danger, danger, this topic kills love. This topic causes screaming. This topic makes mom cry. Here is the mechanics of the virus. Your amygdala does not know time. It doesn't know you are 30 years old. It doesn't know you have a job. So today, when you sit down to look at your budget, or when you think about investing, or when you negotiate your salary, your amygdala wakes up. It recognizes the pattern. Oh, we're talking about money. I know this one. This is where the screaming starts. This is where the tribe collapses. And it hijacks you. Literally, it cuts off blood flow to your prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for logic, math, and long-term planning. You physically become stupider in that moment. You can't think clearly. You feel a fog. You feel an overwhelming urge to flee. I'll do this later. I don't need to look at this now. I'm just not good with money. You aren't bad with money. You are chemically lobotomized by your own survival instinct every time the topic comes up. You are trying to run a Fortune 500 company using an operating system designed for a scared 7-year-old. This creates what psychologists call a money script. These are the invisible rules you follow without knowing why. And because you inherited the poverty virus, your script is likely one of avoidance or worship. The avoidance script. Money is bad. Rich people are evil. I don't care about money. This is a defense mechanism. If money is bad, then not having it makes you good. It allows you to look at your empty bank account and feel morally superior. Well, at least I'm not a sellout like my cousin. At least I'm humble. You use your poverty as a badge of honor. You reject wealth before it can reject you. You subconsciously sabotage opportunities because deep down, you believe that if you get rich, you become the enemy. The worship script. Money will solve everything. If I just had money, I'd be happy. This is the other side of the coin. You treat money like a magical cure. But because you worship it, you never touch it. It's too powerful. It's too scary. You buy lottery tickets, a tax on hope, instead of index funds, a calculated risk. You dream of the big break, instead of doing the boring, daily work of building wealth. Because the virus tells you that money is something that happens to you, not something you create. Dr. Claunce's research shows that these scripts are transgenerational. They are passed down like eye color. Your grandfather lived through the Depression, so he hoarded everything. Your father grew up watching that hoarding and felt deprived, so he spent everything he made to feel free. You grew up watching the instability of the spending, so you are paralyzed by both. You hoard the broken cables, grandpa's voice, but you panic spend the bonus check, dad's voice. You are fighting a ghost war between two generations of trauma, right there in the checkout aisle. And the worst part, the virus protects itself. When someone tries to help you, when a friend suggests a book, or a partner asks to see your credit score, you get angry. You snap. Why do you care so much about money? Is that all you think about? That defensive anger is the immune system of the poverty virus. It attacks the cure to keep the host sick. You need to see this mechanism for what it is. It is not destiny. It is not bad luck. It is a biological reflex. Every time you shy away from a financial conversation, you are letting a scared 7-year-old drive the car. Every time you say, I can't afford it, without checking the numbers, you are letting your amygdala veto your reality. The poverty virus is a parasite that lives in your nervous system. It feeds on your fear. It grows on your ignorance. And it uses your own brain chemistry to keep you blind, broke, and safe in the struggle you were born into. You think you hate being broke. You think you wake up every day fighting to get out of this hole. But if I offered you a magic button right now, a button that would put $5 million in your account, tax-free, no strings attached, part of you would hesitate. A small, quiet, terrified part of you would recoil. Why? Because you have been brainwashed to believe that poverty is a virtue. You have been infected with the noble poor virus. Look at the stories you were raised on. Look at the movies. Who is the hero? The scrappy, struggling underdog, the poor boy with the heart of gold. Who is the villain? The rich guy in the suit, the greedy landlord, the soulless corporation. From Titanic to the Bible, the message is pounded into your skull. Money is dirty. Rich people are bad. Suffering makes you holy. Your parents reinforced this. How many times did you hear them say, we may not have much, but we have each other. Money can't buy happiness. I'd rather be poor and happy than rich and miserable. Notice the false binary, as if you can't be rich and happy, as if being broke guarantees joy. They taught you that their lack of resources was actually a moral victory. They weren't failing at capitalism. They were too good for it. They were opting out of the greed. They were the salt of the earth. And you swallowed that pill whole. So now, as an adult, you are in a double bind. Your conscious mind wants money. It wants safety. It wants freedom. But your subconscious mind, the part that runs the show, believes that money equals evil. So every time you get close to success, your internal alarm goes off. Warning, you are becoming one of them. You are becoming the villain. You are losing your soul. This is why you sabotage. This is why you don't negotiate for the higher salary. Deep down, you feel that asking for more money is greedy. You feel that wanting to be paid your worth makes you arrogant. This is why you give away your time, your energy, and your skills for free. You want to prove you're a good person. And in your infected programming, a good person is someone who suffers. A good person is someone who sacrifices. A good person is someone who puts everyone else first and ends up with nothing. You are addicted to the martyrdom of poverty. You get a sick little hit of dopamine every time you say, I can't afford it. It confirms your identity as the humble, honest struggler. It confirms that you haven't sold out. It confirms that you are still pure. And here is the darkest part of the noble poor virus. It is a defense mechanism against judging your parents. If you admit that money is good, that money is freedom, that money is safety, that money allows you to help people, then you have to ask a terrifying question. Why didn't my parents have any? If money is good, then their poverty wasn't a moral choice. It was a lack of skill. It was a mistake. It was a failure. And you love them too much to call them failures. So you twist reality. You demonize money so that their poverty becomes a virtue. You make yourself poor to validate their life choices. See, Dad, I'm struggling too. That proves you were right. The world is rigged. The system is unfair. We are the good guys. You are paying for their validation with your own financial future. You think you're stuck? No. You are loyal. You are loyal to the story that says, it is better to be a victim than a villain. But that's a lie. You can be rich and kind. You can be wealthy and generous. Money is just an amplifier. If you are a good person, money makes you able to do more good. If you are a jerk, money makes you a louder jerk. Money doesn't change you. It reveals you. But the virus won't let you see that. The virus wants you to stay in the struggle because the struggle feels like home. The struggle feels like us. And leaving the struggle feels like leaving the tribe. So ask yourself, would you rather be good and broke? Or would you rather be free? Because as long as you believe there is nobility in suffering, you will never allow yourself to stop. Let's talk about the invisible ceiling. You have a number in your head. You probably don't know what it is, but your subconscious knows it down to the penny. Let's say it's $5,000. That is your financial thermostat setting. It's the maximum amount of safety your nervous system can handle before it starts to panic. Watch what happens when you get close to it. You save diligently. You sacrifice. You work overtime. The account hits $4,500. You feel good. It hits $4,800. You feel weirdly anxious, a little jittery. It hits $5,100. Boom! Within 48 hours, something happens. The transmission in your car blows. You get a dental emergency. You get a speeding ticket. Your cousin calls with a sob story about rent, and you loan them $300 you know you'll never see again. You tell your friends, I have the worst luck. Every time I get ahead, something drags me back down. The universe just doesn't want me to win. Stop. The universe doesn't care about your transmission. The universe isn't looking at your checking account. You are doing this. This is called the upper limit problem, a concept identified by psychologist Gay Hendricks. But in the context of the poverty virus, it's much more sinister. It's a cybernetic mechanism designed to keep you in your lane. Think of your life like a house with a thermostat. Your parents raised you in a house set to 65 degrees. That's struggle temperature. That's just getting by. To your child brain, 65 degrees feels like home. It feels like love. It feels like safety. When you start making money, when you save that $5,000, the temperature in your life goes up to 75 degrees. Rationally, you say, this is great. It's warm. I can relax. But your primitive brain screams, warning, overheating, unfamiliar territory, danger. You are violating the laws of your childhood. You are exceeding the tribe's capacity for success. Your nervous system doesn't know how to relax in 75-degree weather. It interprets the heat of wealth as anxiety. It interprets the safety of savings as a threat to your identity. So what does a thermostat do when the room gets too hot? It kicks on the AC. It cools the room back down to the set point. In your life, the AC is the crisis. The AC is the self-sabotage. You ignored that weird noise in the car for 3 months when you were broke. But the second you had the money, your brain decided to notice it. No, you unconsciously ignored the maintenance until the repair would cost exactly enough to bring you back to your set point. You unconsciously picked a fight with your boss the week before bonuses were announced. You unconsciously forgot to pay the parking ticket until it doubled in price. You are manufacturing crises to get rid of the excess money. Because when the money is gone, when you pay the mechanic, pay the dentist, pay the fine, and your account drops back down to $200, You exhale. The anxiety vanishes. The heat is gone. You are back to 65 degrees. You are back to the struggle. You say, man, I'm so broke. But your body says, ah, finally, safety. This I know. This I can handle. You are addicted to the equilibrium of poverty. You are using external disasters to regulate your internal anxiety. You think you are a victim of circumstance. Look at the pattern. It happens at the exact same dollar amount every single time. That's not bad luck. That's a system setting. Your parents set that dial. They taught you that people like us don't have savings. They taught you that people like us live paycheck to paycheck. So if you have savings, you are no longer people like us. You are an alien. And to a tribal species, being an alien is a death sentence. So you burn the money to stay in the tribe. You break the car to stay in the family. You create the emergency to prove you belong. And until you walk over to the wall and manually reset that thermostat, until you learn to tolerate the heat of having money without panicking, you will never keep a dime. You could win the lottery tomorrow, and within 2 years, you would be back to 65 degrees. Because you don't have a money problem. You have a tolerance problem. You are allergic to your own success. The phone rings. It's your brother, or your cousin, or that one friend from the old neighborhood. You know why they're calling before you even pick up. The small talk lasts exactly 45 seconds. Hey, how's work? How's the car running? And then the drop. Listen, I hate to ask, but your stomach tightens. You know the script. Rent is late. The baby needs formula. The transmission blew. Can you spot me 200? I swear I'll pay you back next Friday. You know 3 things instantly. They will not pay you back next Friday. You have the money, but you had plans for it. You are going to say yes. Why? Why do you hand over your hard-earned security to a black hole? You tell yourself, I'm helping family. That's what good people do. I'm generous. I'm the strong one. Bullshit. You aren't being generous. You are paying a tax. You are paying the guilt tax. This is the specific, crushing weight of survivor's guilt. Usually we talk about this with plane crash survivors or soldiers coming home from war when their friends didn't. Why did I live? Why did they die? It's not fair. But you have financial survivor's guilt. You escaped the burning building of poverty. You found the exit. You're standing outside in the fresh air. But your family is still inside, coughing in the smoke. And you can't enjoy the fresh air. You can't take a deep breath, because every time you do, you feel like a traitor. Who am I to have savings when mom is struggling? Who am I to go on vacation when my sister can't pay rent? Your success feels like a theft. Deep down, the poverty virus whispers that there is a finite amount of luck in the universe. If you have it, you must have stolen it from them. So you have to give it back. You have to bleed a little to make things fair. Watch yourself at a family dinner. You grab the check. You snatch it off the table like it's a grenade. I got it. Don't worry about it. You insist on paying for everyone, even if it hurts your budget, even if you have to put it on a credit card. Why? Are you showing off? No, you are apologizing. You are saying, I'm sorry I have more than you. I'm sorry I escaped. Here, let me pay a fine. Let me suffer a little bit so we're equals again. You are buying forgiveness for the sin of success. And here is the destructive cycle of the guilt tax. You aren't actually helping them. When you give your brother that $200, do you fix his problem? No, you fix his symptom. You teach him that he doesn't need to change his behavior because you are his safety net. You enable his chaos because his chaos alleviates your guilt. It is a symbiotic, parasitic relationship. He needs money. You need to feel less rich to feel less guilty. So you trade. He takes your cash, you take his burden, and both of you stay stuck. You think you are being the hero. No, you are being the anchor. You are dragging yourself down to their level because you don't have the courage to rise alone. You are literally financing your own stagnation. I can't invest this month. I had to help my mom. I can't buy that course. I had to bail out my brother. You use their struggle as an excuse to pause your own growth. Because if you kept growing, if you really took off, you would become unrecognizable to them, and that terrifies you. So you keep the door open. You keep the wallet open. You become the bank of you with a 100% default rate. And every time you hand over that cash, you feel a weird mix of resentment and relief. Resentment, why do they always ask me? Relief, okay, now I've paid my dues. Now I'm not too much better than them. You are paying a tribute to the poverty virus. You are sacrificing your future on the altar of their past. And the hardest truth, they will keep taking as long as you keep giving. Not because they are bad people, but because you have trained them that your resources are common property. You have trained them that your money is actually their money, just held in your account. And until you stop paying the tax, until you realize that your suffering does not help them, you will never be wealthy. You will just be the family ATM. And ATMs don't get rich, they just get emptied. You are sitting in a meeting at work, or maybe you're trying to read a book, or you're trying to have a conversation with your partner about where to go for vacation next year. But you aren't really there. There is a hum in the back of your head, a low-frequency vibration that never stops. The car registration is due Thursday. The credit card minimum is $85. Did the check clear? Did the check clear? Did the check clear? You are operating at 60% capacity. You think you're just tired. You think you just have brain fog. No. You are suffering from a massive reduction in cognitive bandwidth. Psychologists call this the scarcity tunnel, and it is one of the most dangerous symptoms of the poverty virus. When your brain is obsessed with a lack of resources, when you are constantly worried about money, your functional IQ drops by about 13 points. That's the same effect as going a full night without sleep. You are walking around the world, chronically drunk on anxiety. Imagine you are looking through a paper towel roll. You can see the circle right in front of you perfectly clearly. You can see the bill on the table. You can see the empty fridge. You can see the crisis happening right now. But you are legally blind to everything outside that circle. You can't see the opportunity to switch jobs. You can't see the investment that would pay off in 10 years. You can't see the bigger picture. You are trapped in the tyranny of the now. This is why you make bad decisions. This is why you take the payday loan with 400% interest. People look at you and say, "That's stupid. Can't you do the math?" You aren't stupid. You can do the math. But inside the tunnel, the math is different. Inside the tunnel, the only thing that matters is stopping the pain right now. The payday loan stops the pain today. The fact that it ruins your life next month. Next month doesn't exist. To the poverty virus, The future is a luxury you cannot afford. This creates a terrifying addiction to emergency. You have lived in the tunnel for so long, focused entirely on putting out fires, that you have forgotten how to build a house. If I gave you a quiet afternoon to plan your financial future, you would panic. Silence is terrifying to you. Peace feels like boredom. Your nervous system is wired for the adrenaline of the fix. Oh no, the rent is short. I need to hustle. I need to sell something. I need to DoorDash. You rush around. You solve the problem. You get the rent paid at 11:59 p.m. And you feel alive. You feel a rush of accomplishment. I did it. I survived. You are addicted to your own survival struggle. You are a firefighter who secretly loves arson because it gives you something to do. This is why you don't invest. Invest? Are you kidding me? I need that $50 for groceries. Even when you have the $50, even when you have $500. The concept of putting money away for 20 years feels like throwing it into a black hole. 20 years. I might be dead in 20 years. The virus tells you, eat it now, spend it now. If you don't use it, it will disappear. This is the grab mentality of poverty. When resources are scarce, you grab them. You consume them immediately, because in a chaotic environment, saving is risky. If I save this money, something bad will happen and take it away, so I might as well enjoy it. So you buy the expensive dinner instead of the index fund. You buy the new phone instead of the course. You choose the immediate dopamine hit over the long-term compound interest. And you tell yourself, I'm just living in the moment. No, you are trapped in the tunnel. You are prioritizing the feeling of wealth, consuming, over the reality of wealth owning. And here is the tragedy of the bandwidth tax. It takes money to make money. No. It takes mind to make money. It takes mental space. It takes the ability to sit quietly, look at a spreadsheet, and project 5 years into the future without having a panic attack. But the virus fills your RAM with garbage. It fills your processing power with, how do I pay the light bill? So you have zero processing power left for, how do I double my income? You are running a marathon with a 50-pound backpack of rocks. And you're wondering why you can't keep up with the people running free. You aren't slow. You are carrying the cognitive load of a survival war that your parents started 30 years ago. Drop the rocks. The only way out of the tunnel is to stop staring at the wall. You have to force your eyes to adjust to the dark. You have to force yourself to look at the terrifying, blurry shape of next year. Because if you only look at today, you will die in this tunnel. And you will pass the tunnel vision to your kids, teaching them to only see the fire, never the exit. We have spent the last 20 minutes talking about your parents. We've talked about their fighting, their scarcity, their trauma. We've talked about the poverty virus they pass down to you like a genetic defect. But now, I need you to do something very difficult. I need you to stop looking at them. I need you to walk into the bathroom, turn on the harsh light, and look in the mirror. Because here is the truth you have been avoiding for your entire adult life. You are not a victim anymore. You are a volunteer. You are 30 years old, or 40, or 50. You are not that scared 7-year-old in the hallway anymore. No one is screaming at you. No one is controlling your wallet. You have the keys to the car, and you are choosing to drive it into the ditch. Why? Why do you keep choosing the struggle? Why do you keep the virus alive when you know it's killing you? Because, and this is going to hurt, poverty is comfortable. I don't mean it's pleasant. I know the anxiety is awful. But it is familiar. It is the devil, you know. And more importantly, poverty demands nothing of you. Think about it. When you are broke, nobody expects anything from you. Nobody asks you for a loan. Nobody expects you to lead. Nobody expects you to change the world. You get to hide. You get to say, I can't. I don't have the money. It is the ultimate get out of jail free card for life. I would start that business, but I can't afford it. I would travel, but I'm broke. I would be generous, but I have nothing to give. Your poverty is your shield. It protects you from the terrifying weight of your own potential. If you were wealthy, if you had resources, if you had power, you would have no excuse. You would have to show up. You would have to be powerful. And that is terrifying. So you unconsciously choose to stay small. You choose to stay broke so you can stay a child. You are using the poverty virus as a sedative. I'm just trying to survive. No, you are hiding from your own greatness behind a wall of unpaid bills. You blame your parents for the start of the story. But you are the one writing the ending. Every time you swipe the credit card for something you don't need, you are doing that. Every time you ignore the investment account, you are doing that. Every time you sabotage a promotion, you are doing that. You are keeping the virus alive because without it, you wouldn't know who you are. Who am I if I'm not the struggling survivor? Who am I if I'm not the one fighting the system? You are terrified that if you let go of the struggle, you will disappear. So look in the mirror. Really look. Do you see your father's worry lines starting to form on your forehead? Do you see your mother's panic in your eyes? You are becoming them. Day by day, dollar by dollar, decision by decision. You are morphing into the exact thing you promised you would never be. Fast forward 20 years. Imagine your own child sitting in the hallway. Imagine them listening to you fight with your spouse. Imagine them hearing you say, "We can't afford it." Imagine them absorbing your fear, your scarcity, your limitations. Is that what you want? Because that is exactly where you are headed. You are not breaking the cycle. You are the cycle. You are the carrier. And unless you decide, right now, in this moment, to kill the host, you will pass this infection to the people you love the most. You aren't protecting them by staying humble and poor. You are infecting them. You are teaching them that life is a cage. You are teaching them that they are powerless. So stop blaming the economy. Stop blaming the rich people. Stop blaming your parents. The call is coming from inside the house. The virus is in your hands. You are the one feeding it. You are the one nurturing it. And you are the only one who can starve it to death. The question isn't, why did this happen to me? The question is, why do I keep choosing it? And until you answer that, until you admit that you are getting a secret payoff from your own misery, nothing will change. You will just be your parents' version 2. Is that the legacy you want? So here we are. The diagnosis is complete. You have seen the infection under the microscope. You see the symptoms, the panic at the register, the hoarding of broken things, the self-sabotage, the guilt tax. You see the cause, a desperate, childish loyalty to your parents' struggle. Now you are standing at the edge of a cliff. You have two choices, and there is no middle ground. You cannot kind of fix this. You cannot try to be wealthy. You either kill the virus, or the virus kills your future. Option A, you stay loyal. You keep doing exactly what you are doing. You keep the noble poor identity. You keep telling yourself that money is evil and struggle is virtuous. You keep bailing out your family. You keep buying the cheap boots. You keep swiping away the bank notifications. It's easy. It's comfortable. It feels like home. But let me show you where this road ends. It ends in a hospital room 40 years from now. You are lying there, looking at the ceiling, just like your father did, just like your mother did. And you are terrified. Not of death. You are terrified of the bill. You are terrified of what you are leaving behind. You look at your children standing by the bed, and you see it in their eyes. You see the panic. You see the scarcity. You see the virus. You realize in that final moment that you didn't protect them. You infected them. You passed the torch of suffering to another generation. You wasted your life replaying a tragedy that wasn't even yours to begin with. Does that scare you? Good, it should. Option B, you become the traitor. This is the only cure. You have to be willing to betray your family's limitations. You have to be willing to be the one who makes it. You have to be willing to be the rich one, the changed one, the arrogant one. You have to accept that your growth will trigger their insecurity. You have to accept that when you set a boundary, no, I cannot lend you money. They might call you selfish. Let them. You have to accept that when you buy a nice car, they might look at you with judgment. Let them. To kill the virus, you must separate love from sameness. You can love your parents without being like them. You can honor their sacrifice without repeating their suffering. In fact, becoming wealthy is the only way to truly honor them. Think about it. Why did they struggle? Why did they work those terrible jobs? Why did they endure the stress? So you could have it better. So you could escape. If you stay poor, you are spitting on their sacrifice. You are saying, your suffering was for nothing. I'm going to suffer too. That is not love. That is waste. The cure requires a ruthless rewiring of your nervous system. Next time you feel the panic at the checkout, stop. Don't run. Don't put the item back. Stand in the fire. Feel the cortisol flooding your veins and say to yourself, I am safe. I can afford this. I am not in the hallway anymore. Force your brain to register safety in the presence of spending. Next time you get a bonus, don't find a crisis. Put it in an account you cannot touch. Sit with the discomfort of having money. Let it burn. Let your skin crawl. Train your thermostat to handle the heat. Next time your family asks for a bailout, say no. Not because you are cruel, but because you are breaking the cycle of dependency. You are teaching them and yourself that you are not the savior. You are the example. You are the circuit breaker. The trauma of your bloodline has been traveling down a copper wire for generations. Grandpa to dad, dad to you. And right now, the current is surging toward your children. You have to cut the wire. You have to absorb the shock. You have to say, it stops with me. This is not about getting a Lamborghini. This is about genetic liberation. This is about changing the default setting of your last name from scarcity to abundance. It is going to be lonely. It is going to be uncomfortable. You will feel guilty. You will feel like an imposter. You will feel like you are leaving the tribe. But you are not leaving the tribe. You are leading it. You're going out into the terrifying unknown to build a new house, a new reality, a new definition of what is possible for your bloodline. So make the choice. Are you the dutiful child who keeps the family tragedy alive? Or are you the powerful adult who finally writes a new ending? The check is on the table. The notification is on your screen. The virus is waiting for your move. Pick up the bill. Pay it. And don't you dare look back.